auto sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Michael Knight, and happiness is making a difference in another human being's life.
All right, Michael Knight, thank you so much for jumping on the show. Yeah, I'd love to have
pleasure.
you. I'm just going to jump right into it. Did you, and we'll get into your story because I know it's an amazing story, amazing journey. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small town called New Boston, Huron, which, if you're familiar with Michigan, is a very small little farm town back in downriver, down by Metro Airport here in Detroit.
Do you have any brothers and sisters? I
have a brother. He's passed, and stepbrother, and then I have 6 stepbrothers and sisters that I didn't know until later in life.
Everybody knows you now as your fitness plan and your intensity. Back then, did you remember having a healthy lifestyle as a kid? Did you talk about that a little bit?
Just the opposite. So I grew up in a mobile home, and for all intents and purposes, low self-esteem, low self-confidence. And I was known back in our school days, still bullied, and I was known as trailer trash. Mom and Dad, we would eat whatever, but I lived on fast food. I lived on, I was a food addict, donuts, Twinkies. My favorite go-to meal was 1 pound of Oscar Mayer bologna on white bread with butter and Fritos smashed together and then dipping into bush beans as I was going somewhere. That was my go-to food. And then, of course, anything else I could get my hands on that didn't move. So, Yeah, I had a good appetite.
Wow. And as you grew up and moved on, though, you still got into sports. You still were into basketball and football as well, right?
Well, I didn't play. I played 5 sports in high school: football, baseball, basketball, track, and golf. And I didn't play football until my senior year. And people say, my coaches would just drive me crazy to play. And then one coach came in and says, "Why don't you play football?" I said, "You want to know the reason why? Is because my family can't afford for me to play golf. And if I went out for the golf team, I'd play 9 holes every single day for free. And then my coach knew my story, and he would give me the golf holes where there were woods, so I could go hunting for golf balls because that's how I could afford to play golf."
And your family, I mean, you may have wanted to do these things, but your family you couldn't afford it. Your family had gone through hard times, right? As you grew up.
Yeah, well, it's just the way we grew up. We grew up in a mobile home. My mom worked 3 jobs. My dad worked 4 jobs. Like I said, high school graduates. So we didn't know the difference, And we didn't have a lot, but we never went without because they worked so hard to give us whatever we want. But we really didn't need a lot back then. We didn't know, And I got lost in sports because, being the bullied kid in school with low self-esteem, low self-confidence. I don't care what age you are and how you grow out of it. That never leaves you. It's always in the back of your head. So
did you get some of that motivation and grit, do you think, from your parents and watching what they went through and just?
Yeah, my mom is to this day will be the strongest woman I've ever met, bar none. My dad, unfortunately, I loved him to death, but he was an alcoholic, abused my mother, and I lived basically in my room. And my mom protected me from my dad, so that's how I grew up. So I was kind of raised like a mommy's boy. Very sheltered, and, mom would protect me, and, that's how I grew up.
So you never really had a good relationship with your dad? Really?
No, my godfather, my mom's brother, was kind of like the father figure I had. He was well known. He was always had his hands involved with different organizations and things. He was the chairman of the Sparky Anderson Foundation here in Detroit, caring athletes for teaming for Henry Ford Hospital and Children. So he would always bring me along, and, as always the young kid with all the adults. So I was always the young one, but always hanging around with older guys and older kids and older, men. So that's what he would always put me in there, like golf leagues and everything. I was always the kid that was 10 years, 15 years younger than everybody else. But, I guess I learned from there, and they all liked having me around, I guess.
Wow. So that kind of, I guess, replace some of that you're missing, I guess, from a father figure. You had several father figures.
Yeah, I really did. I had a lot of father figures. My uncle, like I said, played a very big part of my life and how I got to St. Mary's because of who he knew. And just, it's karma. It really is. And I'm very blessed to have had him in my life to get to me where I'm at, because we need somebody. You need mentors in your life. And they're so hard to find these days. But when you find them and someone sees something in you, it's amazing what happens. And that's how I got to where I'm at, because of mentors who saw something in me that I did not see in myself.
And it seems like you want to carry that on with youth today, because I've seen some of your videos where you really work with kids when they come into the gym. And
That's the biggest thing. One thing I've learned is that the people who are missing out on the opportunity to stay healthy are the kids. There's not enough great coaches. And that goes for older people too. We're all focused on the 20, 30, and 40-year-olds, keeping them in shape, getting their abs, looking great. But what about the kids? What about the people that are 40, 50, and 60? And that's what I want to do, is I want to give those people hope, because that's what was given to me. I do what I do best. I teach, I coach, and I motivate. And I have great coaches in my life to this day that I basically outsource my weaknesses, whether it's programming, whether it's nutrition, whether it's recovery. We all do our best job. So if people are going to come to me, you're competing against a team. You're not competing against one person who thinks they know it all. And I started off that way, thinking I knew it all. Look at me, my name's on the door. No. If you see my name on the door and you walk in and I'm the smartest person in the room, well, I will be in the room, but I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to have people that I can go to get the right answers. So, when you give lectures and you give speeches, and I give motivational speeches, it's almost like I'm bulletproof, because if I don't have the answer, I have the people in my life that can get you the answer. And that's what I close my eyes. It's like the emoji where you put your hands over your face every time you see things on Instagram and social media. It's just wrecking us. Yeah. It really is. And I really feel sorry about it. I'm not there on social media to show anything or sell anything. I'm there to give people common sense. I'm 63, I'll be 64 at the end of the month, and I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. 2 gifts I give myself every single year since I was 36 and given that death sentence of change or die, is to be in the best shape of my birthday, in the best shape of my life on Christmas, and I will never relinquish that. God bless, and God, God, willing too.
That's awesome. That's an awesome way to live. I mean, that keeps you motivated to
it
stay
really does.
in that shape.
It really is. It's like what people say on Instagram isn't half of what I do in the room. I'm very intense, and I am not for everybody. But it's like I tell people, when I put things in my mouth today, it's like, it's 63. If something happens, will I be able to fight that disease or that problem that comes up? When I lift weights, the looks and the way you feel and all that, that's just the after effect. It's in your 60s. Can you fight something if it comes your way? And that's and I love my food, and I love my workout. I love everything. But you don't have to don't have to do shit that you don't want to. Mm-hmm. It's just you have to find yours. Don't eat like me. I'm going to show you things I eat. If it works for you, great. But one thing I learned along the way is that at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. It's just common sense and getting rid of bad habits. My kids, I can bring them in, like a lot of kids. I got about 6 of them who had just started the summer program, and they came to me from very prestigious schools. And they were all excited. They made the team, and the first thing the coach tells these kids, you got to put on 10 pounds. Okay, we always say that. Well, I said, go ask coach. He said, I'll put 10 pounds on if you take 10 pounds off. Because the coach will tell you that, but he's not going to give you direction, because 9 chances out of 10, they don't know. And that's a shame. So they come in, I asked them to a person, I said, well, how are you going to put the 10 pounds on? They go, well, go to the gym. No, you don't. We're going to learn how to eat. And for kids that are young, it is a job to eat that kind of food. But that's why I'm on them. And it's amazing that they pay attention. I could have 3 or 4 of these kids in an adult room. And I go to my adults, I said, watch this. And I'll go around the room. What did you have for breakfast? And they will verbatim get me what I want to hear. You do that with an adult, you're never going to get the answer, because their brains are wired to do stupid shit. And kids, their brains haven't been wired yet. So it's those habits that we grow up with that would just follow us all the way through life. And when do we change? When you get that first oh shit moment, the death scare, the heart attack, whatever disease, whatever God willing, you don't have and you can survive. Is now I'll change. Oh God, just give me one more. No. This is where I'm here. Do it now. Find your why. And that's when I got to the combine, and I want to get ahead of things, but that's why I was there. The kettlebell got me to the combine, but it was my story that got me there and brought me back another year. Is helping these kids find their why.
Wow. Well, let's go talk about that moment that you had at your heaviest. How much did you weigh
I
when
was
you were
336 pounds.
okay? And then
Now, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
So 336 pounds. And one thing, if I had a Bible in my room right now, and I'm not bringing religious into this, I have not missed a workout since the day I found the weight room, ever. I broke my hand twice. There's no reason, because it was the spot that gave me my self-esteem, self-confidence to go out and people go, who is that guy? I'm the bullied kid. The kid was pushed in the lockers, beat up, all that shit. But that was my safe haven out of sports, is that people notice, like, who is this guy? What does he do? He must be a football player. But again, I didn't change the way I ate. I mean, I come from, and I don't know how old, we never were home. We left in the morning, and they make fun of that missing, the person on the missing milk box, where our mothers used to come on the porch and scream, Mike, time to come in. It's like 10 o'clock in the night. We never saw our parents. Now you can't get out of the house. And now they got all these pay-to-play sports and all these tournaments on the weekends that are just crocks of crap that, you don't need to play. But this is the parents are uneducated, and they're buying into this shit. They don't need to play. Just find a gym and go play.
Yeah, get out, exercise like we used to. We'd go out, play, run around, and ride
Yeah.
bikes. I mean,
It's all we did.
back when you were that heavy and you went to that one infamous doctor's visit. Was that a routine checkup, or had you been having some health problems?
Well, no, I was teaching. I used to teach 3 spin classes a day. I thought when I found spinning, it was in Chicago. It was on the beach, and I've never been on a bike, never been on a spin bike. And I took a class, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. But I'm thinking, they would say, and then I went to another class when they were doing, do these jumps, do this, and I laughed out loud. I'm going, no way, and they were. And I'm thinking, God, this is pretty cool. And I go, how cool would it be to teach a class and actually get paid to do your cardio? And that's where I became a spinning instructor. And my classes were known all over the city because all I did was play music people wanted to hear. I didn't do stupid shit. It simulates a ride. So that's where people got to know my intensity, and everything else was through that. But one of the doctors was in my class, and he goes, when's the last time you had a checkup? I said, I haven't had one since college. It was 15 years. Why? I'm working out. I feel fine. I'm working out. What do I need to go to a doctor for? And, he'd ask me a couple times, and then finally the phone rings. And I go, hello? She goes, yeah, Mike, this is so-and-so from doctor's office. We'd like to schedule you for a physical. I go, how many doctors are calling you for the physical?
Right.
So I said, okay. So I went in and did the physical, and about 2 weeks later, she called me back. And remember, I haven't been to the doctor in 15 years. She goes, Doc wants to see us. Okay, I guess this is part of it. So I walk in, he shuts the door, and I haven't changed. And he looks at me and he goes, Mike, I'm going to tell you just like you tell everybody else, you either change, you're going to die. And I sat there, and I got in that car, and I don't know if you've ever had that deja vu feeling, like I was numb for an hour. It's like, what in the hell? And then you try to piece it together and figure it out. It's like, okay, where do I go from here? I'm 336. My mother is a cancer survivor, type 1 diabetic, can't move. She's 400 pounds. And now where do we go? And it basically took me 48 hours to get to Beaumont Diet Center here in Michigan. And I said, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go to the best. So I remember walking in early, me and my mom, and here come the first 3 people. 600 pounds wheeled in on gurneys with oxygen tanks. The rest of them all came in on wheelchairs with oxygen tanks attached to them. And I looked at myself, I go, this is me. I said, so now I'm really interested. Okay, what's so magic about this whole program? Well, they had a program called 5+1 or 6. So for 6, you would have a protein shake, their protein shake, and you would have all the vegetables you wanted 6 times a day. Or you would have breakfast, and then you would do a protein shake and vegetables afterward. Well, guess what? I don't think I ate a vegetable until I was probably in my 40s. I hated vegetables. But I said, well, shit, I can do this. So every morning I go to the same restaurant, order breakfast. I think it was 8 egg whites, burnt hash browns, 2 orders of dry wheat toast, and oatmeal. It sounds like a lot. But every 3 hours after that, no matter where I was, for 16 months, a protein shake or a protein bar. That's all I had. Because I had the discipline, because I was scared shitless I was going to die. I mean, I would be on a golf course with a turn. I used to do like 2 hot dogs, bag of chips, free, whatever it was. Now I pull a plastic bottle out of my golf bag, fill it up with powder, shake it, and go on. Why? Because nothing tastes as being thin. So this whole Ozempic thing, I can't relate to it, but I know they don't give a shit what they feel, what they look like, what's going to happen. They just want to be thin. And then they're going to wake up and go, what the hell did I just do? Because there is no accountability on what's going on out there. None whatsoever. So that was for 16 months, and I lost 121 pounds. Wow. But then I'm speaking at Antonio Gates' football camp. I think at the time he was the tight end for the Chargers. Forgive me if I get the team wrong. And I'm speaking. I brought my team down there, got invited down. And Ron Rice, the ex-president of the NFL's Player Association, was listening to me. He's going, you got to go listen to this guy talk. You got to go listen to this guy talk. So now I'm thinking they want to basically hear me talk and help me get to other people. Well, he was part of the Isogenics group. And if you don't know who Isogenics is, it's basically a multi-level marketing company that sells protein shakes and all that. And that's what they want. So one of the guys come up to me, and I was in full-blown adrenal fatigue and depression. I didn't care. I was thin. And he looks at me and goes, well, they already know how I look. They go, how do you feel? And they got me. And I said, okay, let's sit down. So I ordered the whole thing. It's like $1,000 kit, shakes, supplements, all this. And in 9 days, you do this 9-day cleanse. I felt like Hercules. You know why? Because I put nutrients in my body. It wasn't magic. I didn't have anything in my body. So I became the fastest grower in Isogenics history. But there's only so many times you can do something like this sustainable. Here's your 3 shakes or 4 shakes. Here's your 2 500-calorie meals. It's not sustainable, but you're doing it because you're forced to do, and you think that's what has to happen. Yeah. There is not too many things out there. I am the captain of stupidity when it comes to training and eating and all this. I've tried everything. Because you look at the next page, you look at the next guy, oh, he's fit in the gym. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I'll try that. I'll try this. No, it's not as hard as a thing, but we're listening to the wrong people. That's why at my age, people look at me and they go, why are you working so hard? I said, so I can live. Yeah. But again, it's the accountability. And I think the accountability hit really hard when I was speaking at the NFL Combine. There were some players there and coaches that had played the game. And the thing that pissed me off the most was they get up in front of these kids and the words came out of their mouth. I used to. And I thought to myself, who gives a shit what you used to? Why aren't you doing it now? You had all the benefits of the knowledge of eating right, exercising right. And you did it for what? A check? The fans on Sunday? For a game? You were forced to get out of bed and train. You were forced to eat that way. But then when you leave the game and the real game starts, the game of life, you quit. So what kind of role model are you now? Mm-hmm. See, and that's why I earn the respect of these players, because they can't come in my room and do what I do. Right. This is a journey of 40 years. You're not going to catch me because you're not going to work consistently like me because you're going to have seasons and it's just not going to happen. And that's why I do what they do at a high level. Very rarely are you going to be a 63-year-old at my level with my experience that's actually going to be training people. Oh, they'll have the name on the door. And when you walk in, what do they have? Pictures of the players, their autographs, their jerseys. Kiss my ass. Okay, number one, those players were that way before they got to you. Right. If I can give them a little bit more longevity, help them get a little healthier and stay healthier, and extend their careers, that's what I can do. But let's not fool ourselves. Those players were like that before they got to those places. So that's kind of like a little more 2 cents I'd like to share with people is that, hey, be careful when you walk in. Because that guy isn't training you. You're getting the kinesiology student, the third year, intern, whatever. They don't have the experience they need to get your kids to the next level. And that's what frustrates me.
And it's almost like because you've lived it, you've changed your lifestyle. It goes back to the Ozempic, and they're going to come off of that. They've not changed their habits or their lifestyle, so they're going to fall.
100%. 100%. I've got a guy who was with me about 3 years ago. I had him down to 240 pounds. He's now 376. Had chest pains, and he almost died on the table. So he reached back out to me. It's been about a month. He came back in, and the doctors put him on Mounjaro. He's now been for 2 weeks. He's down 10 pounds, and he doesn't want to eat. He has no concept of wanting to eat anymore. So I got on the phone with my nutritionist, Michael Paul, and I said, Michael, what are we going to do here? He says, well, we need to start drinking protein shakes. He has to get his protein up. And we're talking a guy who weighs 375. He needs about 275 grams of protein. So I said, John, bring your camera because we're going to follow you now. Because there's a lot of stories out there, but no one's watching someone do it firsthand. Right. The only reason I took him back, I said, your ass is in my gym 5 days a week. I will watch you eat. Every time you put a shake in your mouth, you send me a picture. It's the accountability because you're not going to do this shit on your own. And that's the problem is that all they care about is being thin, and everybody that's on it has a relative who can get them a script. And half of these, more than half, people don't need it. The people that are diabetics, like my mother and those people, yes, get on it. But who's holding you accountable? Well, you're supposed to eat right. Yeah, well, I tell you what. If you're a doctor and you're giving a shot out, do me a favor. Number one, get in a DEXA scan. Let's see your body fat. And put a bathing suit on. Go ahead, put a pair of shorts on. Let's see how great you are now because you're just like them. Now, you get me a fit doctor who works out and understands nutrition. Hey, I'll back you all day long. Those people are too far in between to find. And that's what frustrates me is that everybody wants a shortcut, but these doctors are not being held accountable. They're blowing smoke up everybody's asses, and that pisses me off.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. Taking a half step back, when you started your journey, did you always have a sense of grit and discipline, or did you have to tap into that when the doctor said, "Look, you need to change, or you're going to die"? Did you?
No, I had the work ethic, but it was not a great work ethic. It was like, you show up at the gym, and I don't know how far back you go and what kind of workouts you do, but you walk in the gym and say, hey, what do you want to do today? Well, what do you want to do today? I mean, I don't even train arms anymore. I mean, they used to have an arm day. I don't know if they still do, but who in the hell goes to the gym to train arms? Number one, you're not a bodybuilder. You'll never look like a bodybuilder. Okay, so stop it. Number two, who are you paying attention to? And it's like, half of the problem is that I would go to the gym, and I actually tried to do a couple undercover stories where I took my camera in and watched people. And I may hurt some people's feelings here, but I really don't give a shit. 90% of the people that go to the gym don't know what the hell they're doing. How can I say that? Well, let's see. I was one of them. And number two, at the age of 56, I won 2 world championships because of the coaches and the people that taught me. Technique, 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 technique. Who should we be leaving? Who should we be watching as far as technique? If I was in charge of the world's fitness corporations, the first thing I would do is put everybody with powerlifters because they're the only ones that really know how to move heavy shift. I don't want to be strong, said no one ever. So when I got into kettlebell training, I went to level 1, level 2, and then I have to go to barbell certification because I had professional athletes in my room. And if someone gets hurt, that's my ass. And that's where my world changed, is watching these guys do. And it was one exercise. We got there, and I'm sure your viewers will know, and you know what plank is, forearms and elbows. So we get there, and he says, okay, let's start this off the right way. He says, how many people can hold plank for a minute? And people, raise their hand. How about a minute and a half? Raise your hand, 2 minutes. He pulls $50 out of his pocket. He says, I have $50 here that says none of you can hold it for 15 seconds. Okay, so and I would normally taking that bet as a young, dumb kid. But I said, he's not giving $50 away. So the kid takes the bet, and he says, okay, tell me when you're ready. So he gets in plank. He says, I'm ready. And he starts beating the shit out of the guy. I mean, kicking him, punching him, and the guy breaks in 5 seconds. And the whole room looks at him and goes, he goes, what? He says, if you can't take that, then you sure in the hell ain't getting under a 500-pound deadlift or a 400-pound squat. It was that lesson right there that I took and I applied to everything I did, along with my coaching and technique. And that's why you'll never catch me, because I have that information. Now, getting it across to people, kids will pick it up quick. The adults won't. But it's like when people say, you don't have to go to cardio. You're right. That kettlebell can save and change lives. The problem is, number one, it's a physical certification. You have to pass a physical test. My first one took me 9 months to pass. So you're going to tell me after 9 months I'm going to go into the gym on Monday and be able to teach this shit? No, I'm still 3, 4, 5 years away.
Wow.
But go ahead.
No, I was going to ask real quick, what is it about the kettlebell, the science behind that particular?
It's a tool that, it's like teaching powerlifting. Powerlifting would take 3, 4, 5 years. Well, the kettlebell mimics all those barbell moves with 1 or 2 bells. The problem is it takes a lot of dedication to teach it how to hold it and how to move it and how to program it. My kettlebells go to 220 pounds, 220. So that gives you an idea. You can't cheat it. So if I teach a class and there's 20 people, and it's not uncommon for me to teach 20 at a time, including all virtual over the country, they all look the same. They all move at my pace. Say you got a room of 20 people, give them 20 barbells, you're going to get 20 different looks. Why? Path will be resistance. I don't have to coach it. Now, do the same thing with dumbbells. If I give you dumbbells and tell you to do these moves, I'm going to get 20 different looks. With a kettlebell, I put a kettlebell in their hand, and if I teach you, I'm getting 20 of the same looks. So now, when someone is doing something wrong, I can correct it. You come in my room, there is no music. There is no music whatsoever. And my question is, CrossFitters and anybody in general, how in the hell can you coach with music blaring? And I'm not talking, hey, good job, hey, push. I'm saying break the shit down. So you come in my room, I pride myself on very few people are going to come in my room and do what my people do. I will I'll screw with your head. And I'm talking kids, I'm talking women, I'm talking men. You're not going to do what we do. And that's what got me going, into the, speaking and getting in front of kids and high schools and colleges and into the NFL Combine.
How important is that concept of the physical fitness, but also your mental health? And because a minute ago you mentioned that you were skinny, you were looking good, but you inside weren't maybe where you wanted to be. How do those two go together, do you think? Be happy?
Well, and it's now worse. I mean, I grew up. I grew up in 1960. I was born, so we didn't have social media. So it was basically, hey, I want to have some arms. Hey, I want to have a chest. Now it's like it's sucking the life out of people. And everybody's trying to get there quicker. The calls I get from 20 and 30-year-olds, hey, what do you think about TRT and this and that? I said, listen, testosterone I've been on since 54 years old. My doctor put me on it. He looked at my levels, and all it does is level your levels out. It's not, you don't turn into Hercules. If you don't know how to exercise and you don't know how to eat, you're pissing it away. And I'm very open, I always have been. But it's not the cure-all. It's doing going in with a plan. So, just to sidetrack, and I was doing all my own shit. My name's on the door, I'm just going to make up workouts. And then I had to go get recertified with kettlebells. Now, to give you an idea, I have to go back and I don't get paid. If I go back on the first day and I don't pass the certification test that I passed, I do not get to train. I have to pay $500 and take the certification over again. So now I'm pissed. I have to close my building for 3 days, pay my own airfare, my own hotel, pay for my own meals. So I am pissed when I'm walking in. So then I get there and I'm walking around. And I'm walking around and I'm looking at people and I go, oh my God, this is the greatest room of minds in this business I've ever seen. The greatest mind. So then I go, okay, let's be a sponge. And that's where my whole thing turned. So then people got to see my story, hear my story, and one of the leaders came up to me and says, Mike, I said, yeah. He says, I love your story. Here's what I want you to do, though. You're going to learn some stuff. You're going to be okay here. He says, but I want you to watch, and I want you to pick out 3 trainers that you would hire in the next 72 hours and give them to me when you're done. So to make a long story short, I have 2 of them. There was a third one, the current coach I have now, Denzel Allen. And I never go to dinner. I'm not social. I want to go to sleep, this and that. So I'm going to go to dinner. And when I go to dinner, guess who puts in front of me? Him. Well, earlier in the day, he did what's called a beast tamer, which is a 106-pound kettlebell in your hand, doing a pistol, a 106-pound press, and then a pull-up with 106 pounds around your waist. When he did the pull-up, if you were in that room to this day, you will never forget it. It was like he was shot out of a cannon. So now I'm writing the book. I'm thinking, boy, it would really look cool if I was in the top 10. Look at Mike. He was in the top 10. You can put it in the book. You're a badass. So I'm standing across from him, and I look at him, and I go, by any chance, but within 10 minutes, I know this is the greatest mind I've ever talked to. I said, do you program? He goes, I do. I said, I'm about 5 weeks away from competing in the Tactical Strength Challenge. It's 3 events, pull-ups, deadlift, and the kettlebell snatch test. Okay? So mind you, I'm a basketball player. And you think I'm 6'6", I'm 254 at the time. So he says, yes. So I go home. Oh, by the way, so I tell the guy why I picked those three. He comes back. He says, okay, here's what I want you to do. Go talk to them. You get on a plane, you book a hotel, and you spend 3 or 4 days with them. You're a shadow. You pick their brains. You learn from them. You're going to learn something in the book. It's like going to a workshop, and then tomorrow you're going to come in and be Mr. Kettlebell guy. No, it's not the way it works. So I went with those three, and Denzel's been with me since 2017, but he sends me the workout on Monday. And I look at this and I go, okay, I can follow this. So I did for 5 weeks. The contest comes, I go out and I win the world title.
Wow.
So now it's, no. So now it's, hey, look at me, Mr. Champion. Look at me, look at my ego, look how bad I am. And that was good. And the next year it came back around. So I'm still got the fucking ego, like there's no, excuse my language, there's no tomorrow. And so I'm going to get in it again. So D, but he's writing all my workouts now. He writes all, if I have a rehab person, he writes my workout. He writes all my athletes' workouts. He does everything. All I do is go in and whatever he tells me to do, I do. Okay? It's not a one size fits all. We change tools out. So then I get to the second one. This was really life changing. He sends me the workout and I look at this and I call him, I go, can you explain to me what the hell this is? And he goes, what? I said, this is nuts. He goes, do you want to compete or do you want to defend? And I hung up the phone. Won the worlds again. Now the second one, it was about the journey of the kid who was dead and then stood in front of people as a world champion. It was the journey that I want to share. I've been there. There's not too many people out there with too many situations that I have not been in myself. That's why I can relate to them. I was the king of stupidity in most aspects of health and fitness. Yep. I went 2 more years, and I came in runner-up twice. I didn't lose. I did not lose. Someone beat me. They were better that day. And when you can walk in a room and know you gave your best, you're good. There just happened to be someone better than you that day. That's all it was. Mm-hmm. And that's what I teach. So I bring all these stories and all this experience to these kids. And, I'm the kid. I'm just here. This is me and my phone. I've had some marketing teams and some people putting reels together. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm just looking for people to pick this up. And if they hear my story, call me. Here's the thing with my kids. If you train with me, I will go to your school for free. I don't need money. I'll get paid for expense or whatever. I'm not here selling garbage. I just want to help people because I was that kid. I was that kid in a mobile home that needed a chance. And I got it from a couple coaches. And the way I got there was unbelievable. Like backing up. So, I went to St. Mary's. I got the scholarship. And I played. So the first day, now mind you, I got Dick Vitale and Tim Domke. I'm walking to a room 45 minutes away in a gym. But here's the kicker. If you want to do your homework and if you're 60 years old, you remember this. Dick Vitale had an incredible team. He had Terry Durod, John Long, David Niles. He had all these studs that were in the gym that I'm walking into. Now, mind you, I couldn't make a right-handed layup. I was left-handed. He never saw me play. He pulled my name out of a file and gave me a 4-year scholarship.
Wow.
So I go in this gym, and it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I sat at the edge of the door, ready to walk out, never return. I was so embarrassed of myself and my game. He sees this. He walks over to me, puts his hand on his knee, says, rough night, huh? I said, well, yeah, I guess that's putting it mildly. And he hands me the key to the gym. I said, what's this? He goes, you'll be opening in this gym 6:15 at night till 10:15 every night, Monday through Friday, till school opens. He made me a gym rat. He says, I can teach you the game, but I can't teach you your heart and your work ethic. And now the fear of failure sets into my body. So now you find a different level. So the bigger kicker was, I'm 45 minutes away from the school. I don't have money. My mom doesn't have money. My grandfather gave me an old beat-up car that I used. So I got a job pumping gas. Back in the day, gas was about 55, 60 cents a gallon. I hope God doesn't hear this. But if a person came in and ordered a gallon or $2 of gas, I would give it to them, but I wouldn't stop the pump. I would connect the pump back on, let it hang there, so it stopped at 2. So the next person that came in and ordered 10, it would start at 2, and I would keep the $2. So that's how I was able to afford gas to go back and forth 5 days a week. Long story short, we come back. It was a great freshman, sophomore, junior year. But every year, even though I had a 4-year scholarship, I still had to go and sit down with coach. Here's the kicker. Freshman year, fined, not lifting weights, not working out. Sophomore year, fined again, not lifting weights. Junior year, fined again, not lifting weights. Yeah. So where did it begin? How did I get that job?
Yeah.
So what happened was between my junior and senior year, I was well known for being a counselor all over for basketball with kids and everything. Well, St. Mary's had a very powerful football team, high school. So the coach from the football team and my coach called me in the office. They sit me down. They said, Mike, we see a bigger calling for you because once your senior year is over, it's done. You're not going to go on to another level. We would like you to coach the high school football team. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't know anything about football. And I don't know a thing about football. I played it 1 year. And Lawrence Gaines was an ex-football fullback for the Detroit Lions. He was defense, I was offense. And it was that experience of they saw something in me. I talked about mentors. How did they see something in me that I did not see myself? So I coached football. We go 9-0. I didn't start my senior year. I'd walk in the gym and have to deal with adversity because here's Mike coming into school late. He's coming into practice late. But again, you are not going to outrun me. I will run through walls. And speaking of running through walls, there was a team, the Canadian national team. Back in the day, they used a team called Athletes in Action. You remember them?
No, I don't remember that.
So they were an exhibition team, and they would basically be, a team that you would go in. It wouldn't count against your schedule, but it kind of got the bugs out. So we played them my senior year. And they were all guys who had graduated. It was almost like a pickup club. And I remember they were allowed to carry 2 Americans on the team because what happened is I dove for a ball out of bounds, went headfirst into the wall. The whole gym stood up because I thought I cracked my head. I got up like this, oh! And the coach goes, I need to talk to that guy. So I ended up playing for 2 years with the Canadian national team after that because of my intensity, the way I was, the way I picked people up. I was just nuts.
Yeah.
There was one story. We played Carson Newman. I think they were in Tennessee, and they were ranked number 1 in Division 3 or 2 in football. And it's customary to shake hands and exchange gifts. So with me, I shook hands with the president of the college, and he says, boy, people your size around here, we put pads on them, tell them to go kill somebody. So that gives you an idea. Then the second story, which was cute, is we played Nebraska. They were ranked 10th in the country. And I'd go in, and I was going to be in there for 20 minutes, but I'm not coming out of the game unless I have 5 fouls. So all of a sudden, the crowd starts getting on me, and I think they're upset with me because I'm just screwing up with their players. All of a sudden, I know the football team's sitting behind our bench, and they start chanting, cone in, cone in, cone in. And the football players were coming up and high-fiving me, patting me on the back. I go, well, I guess I found my calling.
Wow.
So those are just little things to see, where I got to and where I'm at now. It's amazing, some of these journeys that you never hear from people because they don't have the stage. They don't have people, blowing them up out there on social media. Here I am.
With such amazing stories. I mean, it's just that's the legacy, if of everything that you've done and how you are, how determined. Do you, coming from all of that and going through all those experiences, how annoyed do you get from adults giving out excuses? I've seen some videos where you're like, don't give me excuses.
I see, and the reason I'm so hard on them, okay, I buried my brother, I buried my mother, I buried my father. I have some cousins and my uncle, and I see where they're going. I said, you've got kids, and you don't want to change. You want to be punched in the throat. If that's not a big enough why, that's the thing, is that I see a crystal ball. I see where they're going. I was there. And once you get there and you don't have me and you don't have accountability, you're not going to do this shit on your own. Look around you. I mean, when I was born, the obesity rate was 13%. Now we're close to 70. This is nuts, and no one's talking about it. And that's why I do a lot of scenes from the graveyard. It's where I would have been dead. If I don't change, I'm dead today. So a lot of them, they deal with me, but I'm in their head all day. It's about workouts, but I'm going to have meltdowns. I have guys that are on Zoom all around the country, and when I go on my meltdown, they'll record it and send it back because it's so entertaining. But it just comes from passion,
Well,
and intensity. That's all it is. Because I give a shit. And again, I'm the one that gives a shit, but I don't want any of your money. I
right,
don't want your money. I'm not here I'm not selling you shit. See, I don't have to play nice in the sandbox.
right.
I can be an asshole because I don't need your money.
It's just
You
truth,
know,
yeah.
and that's the thing. All these people have to play nice in the sandbox because they'll get blackballed, or you won't buy from them, or you piss them off. I don't care. I
Right.
really don't.
And how, I mean, and fear is such a great motivator. I mean, if you were told those words in the doctor's office, I mean, there is no better motivator than,
You would think. You would think. I have people. So my client base, I've got 6 people who had strokes. I had a guy with a new heart, 2 new kidneys. I had people with CTC, which is a nerve damage. Too many cancer people if you saw them, they'd kick your ass.
Hmm.
But a lot of those people face adversity. Unless you face adversity, you're not going to change.
Yeah.
Your brain is wired to do stupid shit. Now we have to rewire it. And who's going to rewire that for you? A 20-year-old? A 30-year-old? Yeah. Yeah. They're going to be really good at that.
Have we been tricked? Have we been tricked by society to thinking that fast food, processed food, it gives you a temporary high, a little bit temporary happiness? The real happiness
Dopamine.
is
It's dopamine, yes. So I was doing a story today, in fact, and I go and I buy 4 pounds of Iron Brown, which is $42. Now, we see the stories that are coming out on how much fast food costs now, 16, 18. Okay, well, you know it's expensive. You know you can go home and eat twice as much food for the same cost. Why? Because you're addicted to it. It's a knee-jerk reaction. Your brain's hungry. What are you going to do? You're going to the fast food. I mean, do you know when I was eating McDonald's back in the 70s, 80s, I spent $12, $15. You know how hard it is to spend $15 at McDonald's back in the 70s?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would just eat until I couldn't breathe anymore. But see, the best thing is I was never a drinker. Mine was food. We go to the bar and we go over to someone's house. Everybody went and got cocktails. I went to the refrigerator and wiped them out. They didn't know who the hell I was. But yeah, it's the addiction to it.
That was your drug of choice.
I mean, come on, guys. You got ChatGPT. Google it. Google the ingredients. What kind of morons do we have to be to keep sticking it? Because they're going to keep putting it down our throats because we know we're not going to stop buying it.
Yeah.
Watch a football game like now you got the playoffs on. The NBA playoffs. Pay attention to how many fast food commercials there are in between. They're brainwashing you. You're hungry, go to the refrigerator. And if it's in your house, it's going in you. Mm-hmm. It's going in you. You're not that disciplined. See, the thing with me is that I don't care. I have that discipline no matter where I go. I go to a wedding. God's truth, and you guys can call me crazy. There's food in my car. I want to see what they have. If they don't have what I want, I'm going to say, excuse me, I'm going to run out to the car. It takes me 5 minutes to eat and come back in. Is it crazy? No. It's just what I do. I always take my food no matter where I go. So that's one of the things that people understand. When I said, how much credibility would I have if I sit on your show and I talk like this, and then you see me in a club and I got a cocktail in my hand? Would you still respect me? I hope not. So they go, would you like water? I said, no. I want the biggest bottle of water you have, and I'm going to carry it because I know what's going to happen. You do too. Yeah. Oh, you don't drink, huh? No. Why not? Because I don't want to look like you.
Right.
I said, I didn't bother you. I didn't ask you why you're drinking. Don't bother me. But see, people always tell them, I'm going to tell you right now before we go in there, if he's in there, don't ask him a question because you're not going to get the answer you're expecting. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care if I hurt your feelings. When I go to a table and I sit down with 4 millionaires who have great businesses, who carries the conversation? Me. Why? Because they can't buy it. It's the one thing you can't buy, and I do have answers. And if I don't have them, my team has them. So here I am. Like I said, I can get you to the water. I can't get you to drink it. Yeah.
That's one thing that I love about your program is that you really try to reach the soul and not only the body. You try to reach inside and figure out and change people from the inside out almost, because it's in tandem. I think the inside and out. You've got to have that work ethic and to feel better about yourself and be happy and move forward.
Yeah, it's a journey. People get on this and, you take New Year's resolutions. I did one time try to do an online program because people were reaching out to me and I would get on the phone with them and I would interview them and I said, okay, let me try this. And I was doing more work than they were. I stopped it. I have two guys. One's Parker. He was 400 pounds. Now he's under 300 and he wants to be a firefighter. I love the guy. He's like me. He gets it. But the problem is it's like New Year's Eve. You get to New Year's Eve and it's New Year's Day. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to start eating healthy and I'm going to start working out. Okay, so you don't do anything during the day. You have a 40, 50-hour week. You're running in all directions. What do? You're going to dump all this onto your plate now. Now you're going to learn how to eat, cook, and do all this and go to the gym? No, that's why people quit in 30 days. You have to slow the hell down. The first thing I tell people is you are not going to the gym for 30 days if you're overweight. I might. We have got to attack that kitchen because most people over the age of 40, look at this workout. Look at this before and after. No. I didn't see your workouts. They put you on a diet. You were in a calorie deficit and you lost fat. It wasn't the workout. It was the food. When I tell people, you see someone change, don't ask them about their workout. Ask them how they're eating and why yours doesn't look like that. And that's people. You have to have small victories. So every day those kids come in my room, I send them home with a victory inside the gym, and then hopefully they're going to give me a victory outside, which they do because the first thing we talk about is food. First thing. And I always talk about the kids. I talk about the coaches. And coaches, if you're listening, please pay attention. Number one, when a kid shows up and he's playing on your team, and all of a sudden he's having a bad practice, what's the first thing they do? Get on the line. Get at the end of the ice. Okay. How about the coach going up, hey, John, what'd you have to eat today? See, it's not that John doesn't want to perform for you. He can't perform for you. And instead of helping him, what do? You run him into the ground. And if you don't have the answers, coach, you better get them because that kid's your responsibility. I had kids come in the other day. One kid is playing his second year of minor hockey, couldn't do a push-up. Now, did I make fun of him? No, it's not his fault. So I asked these kids, I said, how common is it to be in your weight room and the coach asks you to do push-ups? All the time. I said, what's the most he asks you to do? Oh, do 20. Really? Okay. So I'm going to be speaking at basketball camps. Two things I'm doing. I have 3 All-American girls, high school, a couple in college. I'm taking them with me. I'm taking money. I will take any kid out of that stage, guys camp, and I will videotape it and I will put it on YouTube how a girl gets kicked your ass. Because I believe in them. They have the it factor when I never had to tell them twice. I had one girl, she's just won the regionals. They're playing in Wednesday. They're playing in the state finals for lacrosse. She's going to be going to Brown University. She's got the it factor. And I saw her at a grocery store, and she had salmon from the deli in her cart. Salmon. And I said, what the hell is that? She goes, it's not mine. She knows better. She knows there's shit in that stuff. It looks like it's salmon. They call it salmon, but why don't you see what they're actually putting on top and in that? That's how serious we are. And I help them create, don't eat my stuff. Like I tell people when we start off, okay, you're stranded on a desert island for the next 30 days. I'm going to help you develop 6 foods that you're going to love. I don't want you to like them and I have a lot of great recipes. We're going to love them. Then after 30 days, he goes, that was great. I said, now what? I go, now what? Do you love everything you eat? Yeah? What's the problem? See, we want variety. You don't have to have variety. As long as what you're putting in your mouth you love, you're going to go back to it and do the effort. I did not realize that I would become such a chef. You know why? Because someone showed me an air fryer. I have 2 air fryers. It takes me 20 minutes to cook anything I want in bulk. It's easy, whether it's fish, chicken, meat. 20 minutes, you're done. You walk in the door, put the keys on the table, decompress, get your food down, even if you don't need it. Make it, put it in the refrigerator. It's there.
Do we put too much emphasis on finding happiness in the variety of the food and how it tastes? I mean, food is a fuel. Yes, we should enjoy what we eat, but are we trying to find happiness in other things than we should be?
The happiness comes from the taste, obviously. So you want to find things, people say, well, what's your recipe? I don't know. I got a spice. I put it in a bowl. I put it in the air fryer. If it tastes good, I ate it. So you find that little knack that tastes great. You stay with it. You don't have to change it. Just find that it's not the food. You go to a restaurant. You come out. You go, oh my God, it was the greatest fish I ever take. I go, no, it was a piece of fish.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing you can buy. It's just they found a spice or a sauce that you liked. So make it, stay at home, and spend half the money doing it. Do you have to be social? Yes. If I'm social, I'm eating before I leave the house, and I'll eat dry stuff off the menu, and I will take my spice with me. Why? It's my meal. I can do whatever I want. See, I tell people when they order off the menu or they do things, I said, remember, they may give you a hard time, but they want to be you. They want to be the one at the party drinking the water. They want to be the one that's eating clean at the party. They just don't have it yet. They don't have the it factor yet because they haven't been scared. And once you start feeling good about yourself in losing weight, or not, I hate to use weight, losing body fat, gaining muscle, you'll keep coming back. You go to the kitchen, you have a victory. It shows up. You go to the gym, you have a victory. Guess what? You want to go back to both places. Going to the gym, not having a victory and looking the same, going to the kitchen and looking the same, that's a death sentence. You might as well be in prison. It's prison. Why would you keep going and never changing? It takes 2 weeks to change.
Yeah.
If you haven't changed, do something. Talk to somebody. Because I'm going to tell you again, you're not doing this on your own. You know, hold me accountable. Number one, Mike, my nutritionist, who I was a great friend, I talk to him 5 times a week. My clients hold me accountable. Because if I gain 10 pounds, if I get lazy, guess what? I can't be the asshole that I am all the time.
They're going to call you out.
I love being an asshole. I love the Goggins. I love all those guys who come from a different place. I do, it's like I tell people, I do ice showers. I haven't taken a warm shower in 7 years.
Wow.
Now they're giving out awards with this Wim Hof. If you lay in cold water for 3 months, they're going to give you a ribbon, a participation trophy. Are you serious? I said, why don't you take a look at our military? Are they giving them awards for sitting in cold water? Get your head out of your ass.
Right.
I say, come on. Right. Sauna, same thing. Why can't, it's cold. I go, it's water. And here's what the thing is on anything in life. When you put a weight in your hand, you already know it's going up. The minute you say, I think, your focus is going to go somewhere else. So that's where it's up to me to decide what weights go in their hand. And I'm not going to put your weight in your hand unless I know 100% that's going up. Well, how do I know? Well, because I do it. These coaches aren't working out. They're not getting under the bar with these kids. So how in the hell can you tell a kid to get out of the room? I said, parents, if you want to know something, I'll tell you what. I said, go into a high school weight room, football, doesn't matter. You maybe have 2 unqualified teachers. You got 30 kids, 40 kids in there. Who in the hell's watching them? Nobody. And if you're a coach and you're putting a barbell on a kid's back to back squat in this day, send it to me because I'd really like to take a look at it. I want to know why. Because we go to the path of least resistance. Things they've always done. We don't want to change. We don't want to bring kettlebells in. It's too hard. I have to spend money on it. Well, guess what? When you walk into a training facility, you tell me, and I still have the quotes from Michael Boyle. Michael Boyle is a great, great strength and conditioning coach. And I reached out to him one day. And I said, Mike, can we have a conversation? And he texts back. He goes, what are we going to talk about, the kettlebell thing? And I go, okay, 24-hour cooling off period. And I came back and I said, with all due respect, Mike, I said, the kettlebells have gotten bigger, this, and this. And he goes, I understand. I said, let me point that out. Let me just be point blank, Mike. Is it because they don't know how to teach it? It's too expensive, this and this and this. He goes, bingo, you hit the nail on the head. This is coming from a great strength and conditioning coach, and I still have the quotes and I can send them to you. The problem is, here's the deal. Who's the loser? You're in a training facility. Your job is to give that kid or that woman, that girl, the best chance to be the best they can be. And you don't want to spend money to make them better. You don't want to bring in tools that are going to make them better. Shame on you. Shame on you because you don't want to put the effort in. I coach my ass off every day. We don't play music, and you get me. I had 3 locations and 36 trainers at one point. I kept having to do their shit over work. I couldn't watch it anymore. I'm paying to watch people get shit on. One of my guys, I got fired. He was working at the bar. I was watching with 3 clients. When he got done, I said, and I've never fired anybody. I said, you got money in your pocket? I said, how much you got? I said, put $150 on the table. He said, what are you talking about? I said, because that's what you just stole from them 3 people. Don't steal from people. Don't steal from people. Do your work. There's something you can be coaching, teaching every single rep, every single set. Is it exhausting? Yeah, but that's what they're paying you for. Not to count for you, not to have a conversation, how your day went, how's the family. No, that can all wait. Yeah. Do your job, coach, teach. If you can't, find somebody that can. Because that's what pisses me off, watching inept people get screwed. And this is the kid. Our parents, these parents are spending money. They're spending thousands of dollars a weekend to go and play 3 or 4 games. And then they send them to a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, people, wake the hell up.
Right after the game on the way home.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where. So I had one kid, I have these kids now, and he went to a showcase tournament. And I said, do me a favor. I said, you're not eating with these kids. You're packing your shit. He said, what do you mean? I said, I want you to get the brightest bag you can find. You're going to pack your food for the weekend as much as you can. And you can take it with you. So when you sit in that dorm cafeteria, that college cafeteria, they're going to be eating whatever they can. You're going to pull your shit out of the lunchbox. 3 coaches came up to him and goes, I like what I see. Because you know you don't have to coach that kid anymore. You don't have to worry about him. Right. He's going to do his job. You don't have to teach him how to eat. He's not going to be out eating garbage and not performing on the ice. Because guess what? I have 6 kids that are eating, taking care of their health. I got the other 6 teammates shitting on them. Guess what's happening? These 6 kids are going to cost you. But if you bring in someone that knows and you have accountability in this team, just learning how to eat and have the energy to compete is half the battle. They don't.
Wow. It's kind of like building a foundation of a house. You have to have
100%.
that down first. So you're a very up and energetic person. You're very positive. Has there ever been a time in your life where you kind of lost your way and you were down and you didn't know how you were going to get out of a dark place?
Yes. Great question. It was first taking care of my mom. So my mom had been in 9 nursing homes. And with me, my why was, okay, I'm 329 pounds. It's about me. Okay. And then after I lost my weight, and I was, and this was a lesson to parents, just to kids who are taking care of their parents, who their parents are running into problems. My job was take care of Mike. Look at me. I'm in shape now. I'm it. We kept throwing money at my mom's situation. Go take care of her. Go there. Go. I don't want to deal with that. That's too hard. And then someone looked at me and they said, Mike, if something happens to your mother, you will never forgive yourself. Hit home. So the 9th nursing home that she was in, they would send her home after 2 weeks. Why? I didn't know. Well, I didn't know if you didn't get better after 2 weeks in a nursing home, they just send you home. You have to show improvement or they send you home. So my mom's in the 9th nursing home, happens to be 1 mile away from my gym. So I'm going to see what's going to happen today. So I walk in and there's this little girl. She's probably, 5'2", soaking wet, maybe 105 pounds. And my mother's just going, and I go, she's manipulating. I said, I got this one. And I said, what do we need to do? She said, she has to walk from there to there because that's what they have to do at home. I said, I got this one. So my mother starts screaming and I start screaming and we used some words that shouldn't have been said. And she did because I know what was happening. It hurt her. She was in pain to move. She didn't want to move, but I was forcing her. So she did. We came back. It got so bad that the director of nursing and 2 nurses came in and they go, hey, you can't. I said, listen, with all due respect, this is my mother and I've got it. So after we were done, I went down to the office and I said, listen, you can send whoever you want with me, but I will be here twice a day. 1 for occupational therapy and 1 for physical therapy. I'm handling it every day. Okay. So that was about 8 years before she passed. She learned how to walk again, and she went from crying and screaming because what do? You show them and tell them how far they're going to go. It's like coming back to the weight room. You don't work out for an hour. You don't kill yourself. So she'd get up. I would follow her with a wheelchair. She goes, how far are we going? And I would watch, and she would get tired because I'd sit down. And then every day we'd add another step. We'd add another 10 steps. We'd do another squat out of the wheelchair. And now she had her life back. She could walk. My mother was over 400 pounds. She lost 122 pounds. How did she do that? Well, let's take that story to her house now. because we all know what happens. My mom was wheelchair bound, but she could get up, move, and sit into a scooter and go to the store. And it could be 30 degrees. She had a coat on. She was going to the store. I had people go, "Hey, Mike, is that your mother on Woodward?" I said, "Yeah, just watch her and don't hit her, okay?" But every day she would come home and I would scream at her, "Why are you bringing this shit into the house? Mom, we haven't talked." And I'm thinking, this went on for months. I'm going, stop. So she would go to the store. She would come home. I would take all the food, throw it away, put $50 on the table, and I would bring her my food. Tasted great. She just didn't know. My mom's 80. She doesn't know. She's going to do what she normally does. You're not going to break that habit. Shit, we can't break the habits of 50-year-olds. You're going to break the habit of an older woman.
Right.
And that's where I learned that. And then what happened was she passed, and then COVID hit. So now, you know what happens during COVID? Everything gets shut down. Now, I didn't shut down. I taught virtually the next day. I had a TV set. I had 2 little iPads. All those tools that I had in my room that I could coach watching one-on-one, now my clients knew why I was an asshole. Because now they're in front of me and I can watch them all do the same thing the next day. So I started teaching virtually the next day. I was in my gym 476 days straight with no break.
Wow.
476 days. You know what the lesson was? God gave me the key to my gym. It was in the back. If I don't have that key, if I don't have that release of dopamine, where do you go?
Yeah.
Food, depression. That's why it doesn't matter what you do. You need that dopamine. It's either going to come through exercise, which everybody knows, you're going to feel better, or it's going to come through food, or it's going to come through alcohol, or it's going to come through drugs. God gave me the key to that gym for a reason, to save lives, and it just goes to show you. Karma. That's all it was. So but the problem was, taking care of my mom, going to the gym, taking care of my mom, going to the gym. And what happened was, that's all I knew. So I lost my ability to be social. When I went out, I had been by myself for a very long time. So I go to my buddy's house for the first time on the lake, and I sit on this boat, and they're drinking, they're doing all the things I got away from, and I go, this is not me anymore. But I was okay being by myself. See, if you're not okay being by yourself, you're going to go find someone to go party and go do the drugs or go do the alcohol or eat or do whatever with all your buddies. But guess what? You still got to go home. You still got to go home, don't you?
And look in that mirror.
And look in that mirror, and it's not going to go away. So finding, they have life coaches. Not who's your coach, not who's your dietitian. Who are you going to trust with your life? And when people come into my room, that's what they're coming for, to trust me with their life. Not their workout, not their food. They'll have all that. And I guess the greatest story I had was Marcus McGrew. And I have him, and at the time, we were allowed to go back in small groups, and I had a hockey team in there, and the parents would stay outside and pick up the kids. I was getting done, and I saw one of the fathers standing outside. I thought it was a father of one of the kids, and I look in, I said, "Whose son is yours?" He goes, "No, I'm not one of them." I said, "I used to train with you a couple years ago." I said, "Really?" And he pulls up his shirt. He says, "Yeah, I kind of had an experience." I said, "What's that?" He says, "I got a new heart and 2 new kidneys." Now, a guy comes into a training center, lifts up his shirt with a new heart, 2 new kidneys. Would you freak out as a trainer? And I said, "Okay, come on in." I said, "A little bit above my pay grade, but let me make a few phone calls." First thing I do, call Denzel, my programming coach. He writes the workout. Next thing I do, call Michael Paul. Now, mind you, Michael Paul, PhD in biochemistry, ran the cath labs at one of the hospitals here. I trust both of them with my life, and my mother's or anybody else's. So Marcus goes back to run this billion-dollar company in Silicon Valley years later. But before that, he invites the head of implant surgery at Henry Ford Hospital into my room on a Sunday. Do you know how hard it is to get an implant doctor in your gym on a Sunday?
That's pretty
Well,
hard.
won't get him in your room. She walks in and she looks at me and she goes, "You found Michael Paul." I said, "I didn't find him, but indirectly, yes." She goes, "Brilliant." My question is, why do I have them and why don't you have them at Henry Ford? Because they don't exist. And when you find them, you don't stop searching. So in other words, when you're basic, oh shit, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hang on one second. I just screwed that up a little bit.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Hang on. There we go. Okay. So what I learned is that with that situation is that you have to be patient with people. It's not a one size fits all. So I may teach an exercise, and I'm going off in tangents, but you can fix that. It's not a one size fits all in this world. It's not. Whether it's workouts, whether it's food, you have got to work hard with each individual person. But with Michael Paul, with that situation, it showed me that if you you hired a trainer, you lost 5 pounds. Guess what? You think you're married to that trainer for the rest of your life. No, 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 no. There's always going to be someone better and better and better and better. And you know what really hurts is when people walk in my room, and within 10 minutes, I assess them and teach them a couple things, and they go, oh my God, what the hell have I been paying for? I said, stop. We've all been there. At least you're here now. You did what got you what you thought was good. I never stop learning. In a Strong First, we have a quote that says, you never graduate. So one of the things I always say, when you walk in to hire somebody, ask them one question: who's your coach? And if they say nobody, walk away. Because they think they know it all. You cannot be the trainer. You cannot be the programming coach. You cannot be the nutritionist. You're not that good. If you are, then tell me where you're speaking outside of your little camera with your production crew. If you're that good, put your clothes on, go change somebody's life.
Yeah.
Go change somebody's life. And with all this information, why aren't you helping kids? Why aren't you helping the general public? Because you're talking still about your 30-year-old abs in your time. Are you that insecure that you can't do the same thing by putting your clothes on? Grow up. But see, they're not going after people like you and I. They're going after the insecure, uneducated people. And they'll buy into their bullshit. Say an influencer on social media has 1 million followers, and he's charging $99 for some nickel and dime program. How many does he need? 30,000? Do the math. So he's going to talk nice. He's going to be ripped. He's going to give you all this bullshit, and you're the one that's getting screwed over. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to work.
No.
No.
Trying to grab attention like that, I'm sure it's hard to get people's attention as far as finding a good coach. People are inundated with ideas and with different people. What brought about your videos with the fast food and destroying the fast food? How did that come about?
It was just something that, because it was just, I don't know. I did it. It was a Starbucks one. Went in and I just bought it, and I go, you know what? I just had to wake people up. So, it's like, you'd be amazed at how many people's lives I've changed just by, following them. And they stopped it. And it's like, here's a recipe. Stop doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
I said, look what's in this shit. I always tell people, learn how to read a label. And what I do is I always take a carton of egg whites that has 50 grams of protein and 250 calories. Think about that, okay? When you go shopping and you're going to buy something, I want you to turn the package over and look at the amount of calories times the serving. Candy bar, 500 calories. So you could have had this candy bar, or you could have had 100 grams of egg whites, which is basically probably like 5 egg white omelets or this little candy bar. When you put it in perspective, well, I'd rather have a candy bar. Of course you would. But if you dress it up, it doesn't have to be egg whites. Learn what you're putting in your mouth, and you can eat a lot of food.
Yeah.
Again, I'm the food addict. It was nothing when I was younger. I'd go to a restaurant. I was so screwed up that I would go out to dinner, and there'd be someone with me. I would order dessert and 2 entrees. The dessert would come before my entrees because I convinced my brain that it was all going the same way, same place. What order doesn't matter? And then I would order 2 entrees, and the waiter or waitress would walk away. And I go, no, that's just for me. Because I would just eat until I was full. Wow. Because, again, when you go to a restaurant, think about this. My average meal now, protein-wise, is probably 12, 14, 16 ounces of meat or chicken or whatever. Seems like a lot, but it's not. It's what I do. So when you go to a restaurant, I love sea bass. I'll eat 14 ounces of sea bass. Go to a restaurant, they're going to charge you $60, $70. They're going to give you 6 ounces. Okay? All right, let's just say your significant other is a female, either wife or girlfriend, and she orders the same thing. Well, someone did something wrong. So that same 6 ounces is going to feed you and the same 6 ounces is going to feed her. No, you're not going to get enough protein in, so you're going to walk out hungry, and when you're hungry, what do? You start reaching for the bottomless pit carbohydrates. One of the things I recognize is like people say, well, how many essential carbs are there? Zero. See, we all think that we need them. And what I say by that is I tell people, say, okay, you're going to work out. Well, how long did you work out for? An hour? No, you didn't. What do you mean? So one day in my gym, I said, okay, everybody take their phone or I'll take mine. And when you have a weight in your hand, I'm going to start the clock. When the weights touch the floor, we stop the clock. 18 minutes, 21 minutes, because we go heavy and you need that recovery. See, and if you come to the gym 3 times a week and you work out for basically 20 minutes of the time you're there, not doing selfies and other shit, so you want to get healthy, basically working out 1 hour a week and eating like shit. Sign me up. That's where all their gains are going to come from the kitchen. And it's a lot as hard as you think. Where's my protein? Where's my vegetable? Where's my fruit? And just have fun with it. And stop snacking. You are not a puppet dog. You are not a little dog. You're not a rabbit. You don't need snacks because that's where you get ruined. If you eat enough great stuff at your meal, you will not need the snack. If you do, grab an apple. Grab a piece of fruit. People don't realize that.
The problem is they're not going to stop at a handful of nuts or
because it's bottomless. That's why if you like Michael Paul, and I met with him, he says the first thing you do is eat all your protein off your plate first because it'll fill you up. If you were starving and I gave you a 20-ounce steak, you couldn't finish it. That's why protein is so important. But we don't eat it. I go, what kind of planet are we living on when someone says, I can't get my protein in? I go, are you nuts? Tells me one thing. They don't eat. Protein will fill them up. So, okay, you can't eat the protein, but we need to get it in. So let's do little smoothies. And I'm not talking volume smoothies. This is what Michael Paul taught me. He says, take a scoop of protein powder, take 3 ounces of almond milk, mix it up, put it in the refrigerator. You can eat 30 grams of protein the size of your hand. You put it in a big thing. You go, well, I'm going to have this because I used to do the same thing. I would take one of those ready-to-drink protein shakes that was this big. I would put it in a blender with water, put some fruit in it, and body's mind to like 40 ounces. Why? Because I thought it would fill me up. Well, it didn't fill me up. But it was giving me gas because of the digestion and all the chemicals that were in the protein I was doing at the time. So he says, just take a little water, put it in there, and make an ice cream out of it. We're complicating things.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very interesting. Mike, thank you so much, man. I can't thank you enough for being on the show.
Hey, anything I can do if you need, whatever you need, just send it over. I got a lot of pictures, a lot of videos that'll reinforce that. Just let me one more quick story on the NFL Combine.
Yes, absolutely.
So I got together because I was doing some production with this one guy in Florida, and we were going to do some videos together and start an online thing. But he knew the head of the NFL Combine, so he reached out to him, and they got me on the line on Sunday. And his name was Jimmy Kimmel. He says, you got to be something because this guy doesn't talk about too many people, and I'm getting out of bed on a Sunday. So they invite me down to the NFL Combine. And I said, I'm not coming unless Michael Paul comes because he's the reason I'm coming. Now they saw the kettlebell, and they did all this, and I did all that. And I get down there. We're just trying to figure out, okay, where are we going to go with this? What are we going to do? So the first session of the first year, it's running behind. Mike and I are going to talk at dinner. We're going to talk about fitness. We're going to talk about the kettlebell, all this. And all of a sudden, there's a delay, and there's about 80 guys in the room. And Michael looks at me. He goes, oh, I don't like that look. So I stood up. And I looked at the guys. I looked at this one kid. I go, why are you here? He goes, my mother and my father. I pulled $50 out of my wallet. I gave it to him. I said, it's the greatest answer I ever heard. So from there, we just went on. And now the coaches are coming out of the, where they're doing all the stats. And Jimmy walks by and goes, what the hell's going on in there? He goes, he's talking. He goes, talking about what? He's just talking. So we got through that day and that week. And then we were coming back. And because there's 2 sessions, there's like a Sunday to a Tuesday and then a Tuesday to like a Friday. And I got done with the first one. It was kind of helter-skelter over the room. And I'm thinking. Well, I go down at 5:30 in the morning to get things done. There was a couple kids there. And I sit down, hey, what are you doing up so early? And they would tell me their background story. No one talks to these kids. They don't know where they're coming from. You're looking at them as a football player. I'm looking at them as a human being. So anyways, the production crew that came down to shoot on behalf of me was there, and I said, they were supposed to go home. I said, stop. I said, I want you to watch something. And I played my mom's video of me taking care of her. And he did kind of what I'm doing now. And I said, stop. I already know what I'm going to do. I said, call Jeff. You're not going home. And I know what I'm going to do. So I'll pay the flight. I'll pay whatever it takes. We go in, and he introduces me. And I said, okay, everybody, I want you to take your phones out of your pockets right now. I want to put the most important person in your life on the phone right now. I want you to look next to the guys, and I want you to tell them why. I said, lights, please. And I played my mom's video. When the video was done, they all got up and clapped. And I said, how many people have pictures of their mom and dad on the phone? 99%. I said, now I know why I'm here. Now I know my calling. It was my mom. It wasn't me. It's your why. If your why is not big enough, and it doesn't matter, you will never, ever be successful. It'll be a challenge every day. And if you got kids, you got a husband, you got a wife, and your why isn't one of them, you and I have nothing further to discuss. And that's how it went.
Oh, well, your mom is very proud. I know that.
Whew.
Oh, Mike, my friend, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for sharing your heart.
Anybody, and if you have anybody out there that wants to jump on the line with me, I'm here to help. I will travel. It's about kids, and again, I'm one person, and if I can get a platform to help kids or coaches, I'm here, guys.
Where can people find you?
They can find me, give them my number, 248-231-3732. Call me direct. It's amazing when I'm on Instagram and I get these stories and I pick up, they go, Mike? I go, yeah? You're calling me. I go, you asked me to. So no, they can get my information. I'll give them my email, amnightly@gmail.com, or my phone number, 248-231-3732. I'll block you if you're an idiot, but no, don't. I'm there to help, and that's why you got my home number, you got my cell phone number, you got my email. Anything I can do to help people, that's what I'm here for. That's why God put me on this God green earth and blessed me with where I'm at now. And if I can help people and pay it forward, I will.
Amazing, Mike. Thank you so much.
Happiness Sold Separately is created and hosted by Jason Hensley and is produced by Makash Films. Music by Soundstripe. Narration by Lauren Gobis. If you or someone you know is in crisis and needs immediate help, call the National Mental Health Hotline at 866-903-3787. We would be honored if you would rate, share, and subscribe. From the entire Happiness Sold Separately team, thank you for listening.